All right, so it is day one, part two now. For part one, we talked about the elaboration likelihood model, two guys that created this thing, which said that when we think about things, we think about it on a scale of central to peripheral. The more likely we are to actually be interested in the topic and engage with the topic, or elaborate on the topic, to use their word, the more likely we are to use the central route of persuasion, which is mostly facts. And if we are sort of uninterested, we are more likely to use peripheral persuasion, which is more emotions. For this, when we're in normal class time, I got a subscription to Wired magazine like 10 years ago, and I have a whole bunch of them. One of the great things about this magazine and most magazines is that it is completely full of ads, and so we use this to look at ads. I was able to find some copies online, and so we're going to do that instead. So I have a link. I'm going to be using a copy from 2013, but I have a link to a copy from 2016 that you will be using, so you won't be using my same magazine, but I'm just going to show you kind of what the assignment is. So for this assignment, and it's through a Google form, is you're going to be trying to find two different advertisements. One of the advertisements is going to be mostly central, so mostly fact-based. Doesn't matter what the product is, it can be anything, but one that shows a lot of facts. You're going to call that your central ad. And then a second ad you're going to look for is mostly peripheral. So one that is mostly trying to be emotional and doesn't have as many facts. However, because almost every advertisement is a little bit of both, for the central ad, and all this will be spelled out kind of for you on the Google form, but for your central ad, you're going to give two reasons why you think it's central, so two facts that the ad actually shows you, and one that is peripheral. So one way that it still is an emotional ad. On the other side is for your peripheral ad. You're going to give two reasons why it's peripheral, so two reasons why you think that it's just trying to kind of emotionally manipulate you, and one fact that it presents, because it's always a little bit of both. So let's just kind of scroll through this magazine and see if we can find examples. And again, this is not the magazine you'll be using. This is just my example magazine. So here we go. And already with page one, we can see an ad for what appears to be a purse. I guess Mulberry is the brand of the purse. But looking at this, would you think that this is going to be a mostly central or mostly peripheral ad? This one's pretty easy. There are literally no facts that are said. It's a picture of the purse, and that's it. So we have a purse here. It's a very peripheral ad. So in this case, there are a lot of peripheral things. One peripheral thing could be, the lighting. The way that the light shines off the purse is peripheral. The gray background that kind of fades into darker gray, that's peripheral. The icon, the kind of cool tree icon, that could be peripheral. Really, there's almost literally no facts other than it looks like maybe it's a leather purse, and the website that I guess you can buy the purse. On the next page for this magazine, it's another ad. And would you say this is mostly central or mostly peripheral? In this case, like most everything, it's a little bit of both. But I can definitely see some central things there at the bottom, and I'm kind of in the way for you to read some of it. But it gives you fuel economy, and this is the UK one, so it measures it in liters. No, it says, I don't know, who knows, but it says MPG, but then I don't know what I'm reading. Anyway, CO2 emissions, it's giving you some facts. So here we go. It's a bi-turbo diesel, all 313 PS of it. I don't know what that means, but here you can it's giving you several facts. So that you could use this as a central ad. But what can you see about this that is also peripheral? Is there anything that's peripheral? And yeah, there's plenty. The way they put the text in the right-hand side here, it's very clean. There's just like text at the bottom and text on the right. Other than that, it's completely empty. They've clearly removed whatever background existed, so it just looks very clean. It just seems like a clean car with clean lines, clean background. It's an emotional thing. The lighting is very bright. Let's look at some other things. Here we go. Okay, so on page number 10, there at the bottom you can see the page number, is they're selling gel face scrub and aloe gel from Clinique. So in this case, is this mostly central or peripheral? And let's see, some of our guiding dermatologist recommendations are quite practical. Use a face scrub to lift hairs, lather up to reduce friction, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really seem to give any facts. It does say it's 100% fragrance free, which I guess is a fact, but it really doesn't say much about what it is. And it doesn't give any facts. So I would say this is mostly a peripheral ad. And again, it's using that white background, looks very clean. They're having water, so I don't quite know what that does, but there's cool water droplets on these. I would say mostly this is a peripheral ad. So you could use this as peripheral. You just have to give 2 reasons why it's peripheral. And you could say the water bouncing off of it looks neat. It's got a white background. The text is in all these things. The only fact it really shows, the central part, would be that it's, I guess, 100% fragrance free. And here I'll stop here, but for this one, let's take a look. We have some facts down here at the bottom. It looks like miles per gallon. It's giving emissions numbers. Apply mud generously. I like that. But this looks like there's a little bit of facts, but it definitely a lot of peripheral persuasion going on here. Like the apply mud generously, it's a cool catchphrase. Has nothing to do with the car. It's just trying to say, like, if you buy this Range Rover, even though it's an incredibly expensive car and you'll probably never take it off-roading, you could. And it shows you here in the outdoors mudding in your Range Rover, meaning that if you buy a Range Rover, you feel like you're going to be dangerous. You're going to go on adventures, all these things. So I would say this is mostly a peripheral ad. But so go to the link that I provided there, and you're just going to fill out that paper, and it'll walk you through. It'll ask you which one's your peripheral ad, what's the name of the ad, and then what are 2 peripheral things about your ad, what's one central thing, and then also what is your central ad, what are 2 facts that you found, and what is peripheral as well about your central ad.